Wednesday on Home and Family, author and pain expert Vicki Vaconis has advice to eradicate pain. It's in her book, The Body Doesn't Lie. And star and stage and screen actor Raphael Sbarge talks about his latest project, Once Upon a Time. That's Wednesday right here on Home and Family. Back with Michele Bachmann, opened her home to 23 foster children over the years, and it inspired her to become one of Congress's leading advocates for foster children. But we're still chatting about this and the, simple family vacations that she would have, which was a typical, trip to the library?
Well, yeah, it was honestly a very, very simple life. A lot of it is just, the kids just want you to give time to them. And so we would just take different balls and bats, and we had a great park nearby, so we'd walk to the park, or we had a high-top conversion van. Everybody piles in there and the dog and go over there and play, or just, down by the river and, throw stones in and skip rocks. I mean, it sounds, Little House on the Prairie, but I mean, honestly, it was just very simple. And we were big. We had this thing called Mother-Daughter Reading Club. And at night, we just go to the library. And so it wasn't even talking. We'd just all be in the same room together, everybody reading their books. Maybe somebody'd want to say something about the other book. But everybody knew before we went to bed, we had Mother-Daughter Reading Club. And, that's what we do.
Well, what was it that helped you understand high-risk children?
I think, my husband was a big help, because he was a clinical psychologist, but I think it was just more than anything having a broken heart for them. And
where did that come
having
from?
Compassion. I think, kind of out of my own background. My parents divorced when I was about between 12 and 14. It was going on. Well, it ended when I was 14. And we literally lost everything. We went from being a middle-class family to literally overnight we lost everything. We went below poverty. And I remember, the house being sold and, things out in the driveway being sold at like a garage sale, and my mom's wedding gifts and things like that. And it really captured my attention about how your life can literally change on a dime. You can lose everything, and you figure out what's important to you. That's why in my mind, what I really wanted was to be a happy mom of kids.
Right.
Well, what are you doing now as a Congresswoman to help foster children?
Well, I think the main thing foster kids need is a forever family. Yeah. And they need stability, and they just don't have that. And they're constantly changing schools, which means they're changing teachers, which means they're changing social workers, which means they're changing friends. And then they're in a new home. Who could survive like that? So what I want to do is give stability. One bill that I had was to make sure that at least the social workers knew what was going on in their lives educationally, so that they could have access to their education records to try and get them in the appropriate classes. But more importantly, one thing that we haven't solved yet, I would like kids to be able to stay in the same school. And I'd like to have them have the financial support so that if it's a private school that works for them, or a charter school, or maybe even like a private religious school, whatever it is that works for that child, because not all kids are the same, whatever environment works, keep them there.
So the stability, is that what you're reaching for?
Yeah, so something stays the same. Because a lot of times states want to put kids in different homes, which to me doesn't make sense.
Why do they do that? It doesn't make sense, even with the schools.
Yeah.
Why does this happen?
Oh, I don't think that it should, but a lot of times there's chaos in their background, and parents move, and so then they want to have the child move closer, which I understand that. But to me, it should all be about the best interest of the child. Give that kid a chance to succeed, and they need stability.
You talk about what's called aged out.
Yeah.
Or aged out. What does that mean?
Well, what that means is normally when a child turns majority, which is age 18, they're done. They're out of the foster care system. And today, kids later and later leave the nest. But the foster care system has kids exit at 18. A lot of kids just aren't ready. They're not ready emotionally, maturity. They don't necessarily have a job or education. And
so at 18, they're out on the street,
they're out.
essentially.
What happens to these kids?
Well, we've asked for waivers sometimes so that a kid who's clearly not ready, we get them ready. But we start already in their senior year of high school to help them with a plan, whether it's further education, or to get the grants, or whatever it is, or to get a job, and we try and help them have a perch to land.
Wow. All right, so how do you know, by the way, they're ready? Because you get, I'm just trying to learn my kids during their,
hard,
and you look at them and one day they're one and then they change.
Well, they kind of
tell
tell
you.
you,
What, 2 or 3 years?
They help you, and it's about being intentional with them and knowing who they are, what their needs are, and if they can handle it or not. And that's really a lot of it. And some kids are on meds for one reason or another. You have to help them with their medication management, and just to plug in. They have to have a support system.
What's the one thing, if they're facing so many problems, the foster care system, is there one that really needs to be addressed more than others? Like if you could have this one at the top of the list, is it the education aspect of it?
I think it is stability while they're in the foster care system. And to me, it's could they at least stay in one school and the school that serves them best. And rather than just preferring one option, I had our foster children say to me, would you put me in, our kids were in a private Christian school, and they said, would you put us in that school? Or I'd homeschooled some of our kids. And they said, would you homeschool me? And in our state said you can't homeschool and you can't put a foster child in private school. And I think that's nonsense. Put a child where they'll succeed.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't
Sure.
that be the best interest of the state to make sure the child succeeds? Think about the child. What's best for them? How can they thrive? If anyone needs a leg up, foster kids do.
How do, somebody's watching at home right now, and they go, you know what, I want to try. I think this is important.
We need
Are
that.
there enough foster
No.
families out there?
No,
And then
no,
what do
no.
you need to qualify? Is it a long process where you go, oh, wow, this is good?
No, it really isn't. You don't have to have a high education level to do this. It's really.
And you said you had a moderate income as a family.
We did, yeah. We had a moderate income as a family, but it was, our hearts were broken. We decided
Yeah.
we wanted to do it. But really, just contact. There's private foster care agencies. There's counties that do this. Contact some people. We had a support group of other foster parents. Every month, we would meet together with other foster parents who'd been there, done that. They helped us because there's frustrations, there's challenges,
Well-
and they helped us work it out as fellow foster parents.
You should be honestly commended for what you're doing. And what would you like your legacy to be?
Well, we already have it. It's these kids. They are great kids, and they've turned out. And like I said today, if God forbid I was hit by a bus today, I'm done. These kids have turned out. They're doing great. There is nothing better. That's the legacy.
Wow. Well, we're going to step away. We're going to come back. By the way, more information on National Foster Care Month. You can go to fosteryouthcaucus.org for more information on Michele. You can go to bachmann.house.gov and check out our Facebook page. And when we come back, we're going into the kitchen.
We're going
but
into
I'm
the
find
kitchen to see how she feeds everyone.
And when they call her mom for the first time. Don't go away.